Let the universe bear witness to the sacred code. The ground beneath us does not yield to seasonal guests. The tenant cannot sack the landlord. The employee can never sack the employer. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu remains the supreme leader of IPOB. His command is final. Whatever he says goes. Pursuant to the strict authority of the supreme leader and the sacred unyielding IPO code of conduct, the third administration of the DOS is hereby dissolved. The sentence is passed, your names are permanently erased. Chikaedozi, you are sacked. Tony is gonna make it. You are sacked. Austin upon him. You are sacked. Kuria Farmer. You are sacked. Isaiah Uba. You are sacked. Collins Chinedu. You are sacked. Chinas and Wodo. You are sacked. Frida Isaac Yoku. You are sacked. Chidin Manwodu. Juliet Edward Filatro. You are sacked. You are indefinitely expelled. You are Nigerian agents. Stay off from my VOP. You no longer speak. You no longer act for the children of light. The employee cannot fire the boss. Tenant cannot sack the landlord. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the leader. The supreme leader of IPO. Through the trials, through the chains, his word remains absolute. Whatever Mazi Nnamdi Kanu says goes. Whatever the supreme leader says goes. They thought darkness could hide the shadows of greed. They forgot the soil remembers every treacherous deed. After the illegal extraction, when the leader was taken away, the enemies of the struggle came out to play. Governor David Mahi paid $500,000 of blood money bribe to buy collars for the scholars of shame. They took the cash, sabotage the release, and trade the crown, private media houses, just to tear the leader's legacy down. But the truth is a rock, it crushes the hand that betrays. But in the darkest hour, the true guardian stood high, refusing to let the message of restoration die. We lift our voices to honor the ones who defended the light, the shield of the truth, in the dead of the night. Thank you, Biafra, vanguard media for standing so bold, for ensuring the truth, the truth is always told. Salute to the dedicated souls of that spelling the text. Salute to the rising sun, yielding and blessed, and the ambassador for self-determination marching ahead. Keeping the fire burning for the living and the dead. You defended the leader, you shielded the name from the stain. Oh, whatever Mazi Nnamdi Kanu say goes. Whatever the supreme leader says goes. The fourth course is here, working with global power to heal the land. The genocide must stop, the boss has spoken. Victory is absolute. Biafra spirit never dies. From the roots to the sky. In the silence of the night, we still call your name. Though the walls may be high and the chains may be strong, your voice echoes louder every freedom song. Oh, we remember your courage, we remember your stand. For the people, for the future, for the promised land. Even when you're not here, your spirit still leads. In the hearts of the people, in our words and deeds. Oh, we don't go tired, we don't go fall. Through the fire, we stand tall. We know He will be free. Oh yeah, in our hearts, in our dreams, we believe. Simon Ekpa'S, we call your name. Born for the struggle, born for the flame. We know He will be free. One day, through the night, we gon' see better day. We miss your voice, your guiding light. But your spirit keeps the fire burning bright. From the streets to the villages, the message go round. Every voice, every soul in a freedom sound. No prison can silence what the truth has begun. Like the rising of the moon and the shining of the sun. Hey, they can try to hold you down, but they don't understand. This is bigger than a man, it's the cry of a land. From the elders to the youth, everybody go. Freedom is a seed and it's already grown. Oh, we gon' rise again. We gon' go fair through the pain. Your voice we hear. We know He will be free. Oh yeah. In our hearts, in our dreams, we believe. Simon Ekpa'S, we call your name. Born for the struggle, born for the flame. We know He will be free. One day, through the night, we gon' see better day. We miss your voice, your guiding light. From your spirit is the fire burning bright. Even in absence, you're never gone. In every prayer, in every song, your strength lives on, your fire remains. Breaking the silence, breaking the day. Stop shining bright. Freedom, freedom, we cry. Freedom, freedom, we rise. We know He will be free. Oh yeah. In our hearts, in our dreams, we believe. Simon Ekpa'S, we call your name. Born for the struggle, born for the flame. We know He will be free. One day, through the night, we will see better day. We miss your presence, feel your light, and together we go win this fight. He will be free. He will be free. Biafra spirit left.
Getting like our way to other. I am also Biafra when it comes to people that need to tell you. I now even how custom for the demon. How we are now. And you will also organic abortion. And you will also organic abortion. When you are actually like a belief, also got to see you moving on the other way. Abale homo Chineke. Ababa anyị ka anyị na-aza. Ababa anyị na-asị ike Chukwu. Ababa anyị na-aza amara Chineke. Ababa anyị na-aza Chisom. Ababa anyị na-aza Chisom. Nna nke dị nsọ. Onye ime eluigwe dị ọzọ ihe dị na ndị ụmụ gị. Ya ka iwe zọpụta anyị. Ya ka iwe na-apụta anyị n'aka ọjọọ gị. Ya ka iwe lụọ anyị ọgụ. Ya ka iwe dị tụrụ osu. Ọ bụ mmeri na lawyers. Chineke na nke igwe mmeri na afọ. Sukuu otu a mee ka fọlọ bụ ọtụ onye ụmụ ndị anyị ga-ebido onwe etu agba bụ ụlọ ọsọ. Ị ga na-edu anyị n'ụzọ niile nke eziokwu. Ọ bụrụ adịghị anyị na-aga nke ukwuu ọrụ. Ọ bụ ụmụ akwụkwọ ekele n'ikpe ma ọ bụ ụlọ ọbụla kere gị onye malitere ụlọ akwụkwọ. Kama ihe nwere ịgba akwụkwọ ahụ fọwọ́ karịa ka ahụ n'ezie. Kama ọ bụ okwu na-arụgide n'obi. Ọ bụ ya mere anyị ji were gaa n'ozi. Anyị wee na-asị na nke dị nsọ. Let you go to the Biafra and our now. Let you wait the way now, you will put you on the way. Let you raise up from me. Let you make a Biafra way there. Can you do the song of the Jama? See that I have to go
Like and share the program to all platforms. Share to family and friends. Share the program to everyone that is close to you. Let us have a very quick one to bring updates.
Good morning, fellow Biafrans. This is a very different program today. Welcome. I am not going to waste time on this broadcast. I have just only come here to inform Biafrans that tomorrow we are embarking on the exposition of this Islamic State Party. We are going to embark on exposition of the fraud that they want to use Tinubu and Shetima to do. Tomorrow we are going to embark on the enlightenment, awareness, and to inform our Oduduwa brothers and sisters of the impending danger that is about to befall them. Tomorrow we are going to embark on this awareness for the restoration of Biafra. And so, if you notice, I have been playing and streaming a very wonderful job done by the Truth TV. And for that reason, I came very late because of series of meetings. I am going to drop yet again another scripture today because we are now in the holy days of our time in struggle. So I am going to read the scripture. And I want you to pay attention to the scripture that I'm about to read. Remember that we are still in the Bishop of Agbado. Bishop of Agbado, the end of Nigeria. We are part of it. The Bishop of Agbado. So let me read the scripture today. I want you to pay attention to the scripture. We are reading from the book of Obadiah. The book of Obadiah. From the book of Obadiah again. Obadiah chapter 1. The book of Obadiah chapter 1. We are going to read from verse 10. Pay attention. This particular scripture, all the enemy from the book of Obadiah. You people are funny. I do not understand. I do not understand why some people are laughing at Obadiah. Alright. The book of Obadiah, if your Bible do not have Obadiah, it means you have incomplete Bible. Somebody say it is called Obadiah. No, it is not Obadiah. Who told you? Who told you that it is called Obadiah? Yeah? Who told you? It is called Obadiah. Somebody say it is called Obadiah. Who told you that? I am telling you how it is called. You are telling me it is Obadiah. Yeah? No, it is called Obadiah. Obadiah. Do you think it is an English name? Listen to me when I teach you so you don't do mistake. That word is not an English word. Okay? So you cannot say this is how to pronounce it. It is called Obadiah. Okay? It is not an English word. Are you going to prove me wrong? Is it an English word? Eh? I am asking you, is that word our name English word, English name? No. Even if it is English name, it is called. Listen to your bishop. Listen to the bishop. We have come to complete and take it up from where they stop. What we do is that where their madness stop is where our own madness will start. Where the Islamic State in APC and all the jihadist movement and their government, where their madness stop is where our own madness will start. So follow me to read Obadiah. You can even use you to call it Obadiah. Original Igbo name. It was original Igbo. From Obadiah, you now get Obadiah. You know, when you want to refine the name to sound more of English, you can say Obadiah, but it is originally from Obadiah. Okay? When I'm telling people, listen, it was originally from Obadiah. Okay, from Obadiah, you get Obadiah. So it is Obadiah. Just agree with me. Let us agree that it is Obadiah. Okay? You were not there. Me and you were not there. Yeah? But I can explain it better. So if my explanation is more better, believe it. Okay? Because we know the there. Alright. So we are reading from the book of Obadiah from chapter 1 from verse 10. He said, for violence against your brother Jacob, for violence against your brother Jacob, shame shall cover you, and you shall be cut off forever. Are you all listening? Let me repeat it again. The book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 10, says, for violence against your brother Jacob, shame shall cover you, and you shall be cut off forever. All of you have seen the way the people who claim to be fighting for Biafra, you know that this is a special week. Okay? What has happened today? Some of them, all the things they have done in the past, they have gone back to it. start taking note. They are taking note. After the wage violence against their own problem. Let me read from 11. In this one, go to Nigeria. In the day that you stood on the other side, in the day that you stood on the other side, in the day that strangers carried captive his forces, when foreigners entered his gate and cast lot for Jerusalem, even you were as one of them. Hey! Are you people following? The book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 11, said, in the day that you stood on the other side, in the day that strangers, Fulani government and their politicians, strangers carried captive his forces, when strangers entered his gate, when strangers entered our land, and they cast lots for Jerusalem, even you, the people that claim they are fighting for Biafra, even you were one of them. Even you were one of the strangers. Even you were one of those who have come to carry forces captive. You are doing it to ESN, your days for doing that is over. They carried our forces in the Eastern Security Network captive. Today, it is over. It is over. Go and read the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, from 10 to 11. I am going to repeat it again because it is very, very important. In the day that you stood on the other side, they stood on the other side of Nigeria. They stood on the other side of Peter Obi. The people that brought you and gave you oath to take, not to betray Biafra. They called you and they gave you oath. You don't know that some of them actually don't take oath. They gave you oath. They tell you you must not disobey and betray Biafra. In the back, they were not fighting for Biafra. The worst part of it is that they followed the stranger. When stranger came to attack Eastern Security Network, they were one of them. When DSS came to kill Ikoso, then who gave you oath? We are one of them. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, whereabouts, location, details were given while he was in Kenya, those who made it known to the enemy, those who were taking oath and gave oath, were one of them. The book of Obadiah is telling you this. Anytime our Eastern Security Network come under attack, even you that have given somebody oath, even you that claim to be an oath member to protect and defend Biafra, you were one of them. Today, we were told that the leader of Ekpa'S in Imo State is an IP. But our boys, our brothers and sisters are being murdered in their cold blood. When these strangers come to kill our young men, you and I knew them. Who took oath? You were one of them. Are you following? Eh? But let me continue to 12. But you should not have gazed on that on the day of your brother. In the day of his captivity, nor should you have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. We called for sit-at-home to show our anger, to demonstrate that the Biafra people are one, and we are now speaking in one language. They said, no, they came against it. Because the day when the stranger come to kill, they were one of them. And they gave you oath. Nor should you have spoken proudly in the day of distress. They all did it. Hey! You should not have entered the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Indeed, you should not have. Shouldn't have any divine-minded autopilot. Maka onye tinye isi ekwulisi ya tinye. Shouldn't have dared in the first place. We are going to stop here. The scripture. The message is very clear. The message is very clear. You know, this is our book. The message is very clear. They came, and so tomorrow, anything you do, remember that we have exposition to make. Anything you do tomorrow, remember that we have exposition to make on the Islamic State of Nigeria, the Islamic Party, and all of them. All right, we are going to end here. I have a lot of meetings to attend. Thank you very much for watching, and press. You know that you people did not get notification today. Make sure that you have clicked on the notification so that anytime we are live by tomorrow, you are going to be the first to get notified.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. On this very evening program, we are just bringing some information and updates, and we are going to do it as quick as possible. As you join the platform, like and share the program. Remember, we are in a time of reflection, a time of reflection. We need to reflect, and we need to change the way we do things, change our mindset while we look forward to what the outcome is going to be in Finland. The Nigerian government, as you all know, are not resting. They are not going to stop. Nigerian government will not stop, and we will not stop. We will continue to fight. Don't be asleep. As in Onyolarola, Eburewe. As we are waiting for the judgment that is going to come out from Finland, we still have to pay attention to everything that is happening around us. Today, we are going to play many videos from the conventional video. There is a summit. You see, Chukwu Okekabema know how to do his things. Since this case of Mazi has begun, there have been many summits held in Nigeria, both the ones they are holding for restructuring, for rebuilding, for whatever. Remember, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu told them, like people were telling Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, why don't you go to Nigeria, get a position, be in the Senate, lobby, and get it? And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu say, you cannot, there is no structure for you to get such kind of things in Nigeria. Like some who say we should go into Nigeria, apply for referendum, put referendum, go into Nigeria, apply for restructuring, put restructuring. Today, we are being proven right with everything that is happening in Nigeria. In the recent summit, the Igbo people were there. They had their summit. At the end of the day, the Zoological Republic have already planned what they're going to do. Split it. They are still working and looking for how to create more division among us. Every single plan Nigeria is making, they always consider how to divide us the more, how to make sure that we remain irrelevant in Nigeria. Our politicians know this, but yet they don't have the balls to stand up and fight for their people. Politicians know that Nigeria is not for you and I. Every policy in Nigeria is targeting the Igbos. Every policy in Nigeria is targeting the Biafrans. There is no policy in Nigeria put just to do it. They do it to target us and make sure that they minimize our effect in Nigeria. This has been going on for many years. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have seen it all. That is why you cannot bring any topic of Nigeria, one Nigeria, better Nigeria, restructuring. It is dead on arrival. It is dead on arrival. But when we say it, people begin to doubt. Even recently, in those summits, you're going to see it. I'm going to play videos for you to see that every single thing we are saying, we are not just saying it because we are troublemakers. Nigeria is not meant to survive. I have said it, Nigeria is structured in such a way, it is placed in such a way that it will never benefit any indigenous person. Nigeria is made in such a way that it will never benefit any indigenous people. Remember, there was a program that a lady made when they were asking, is Nigeria working for you? And I asked that question. You that is watching out there, is Nigeria working for you? Those of you who are still believing the lies, the propaganda, I ask you, is Nigeria working for you? The Zoological Republic is not working for anybody. It is not working for the Igbos. It's not working for the Hausas. It's not working for the Yorubas. It's not working for the Ijaws. It's not working for the Shakiris. Nigeria is not working for anybody in Nigeria. But the problem is that nobody has the balls to stand up and say, enough is enough to your tent, O Israel. People have resigned to their fates and they have accepted the structure that was put in their hand by the British, and they are managing it every day. Everybody is managing to get a little thing they can be able to get out of it, and that is it. As long as it pays their bills, nobody wants to pursue that which will benefit everybody. That's the truth. I ask again, is Nigeria working for you? You that is watching out there, whether you are one Nigerianist, whether you are a Biafran, whoever you are, I ask you, is Nigeria working for you? The answer is no. Nigeria is not working for anybody. Then why are people bent on protecting that thing they know is not working for anybody? Why are they ready to die, even to take life, for something they know is not working for anybody? Why have people resigned their faith? Why have people resigned to their faith to something that you know will not benefit anybody, has never benefited anybody? Nigeria is not working for anybody. It is not working for the Igbos. It's not working for the Hausas. It's not working for the Yorubas. Nigeria is not working for any one of us. But for one reason or the other, there is only one tribe that stands out to speak and to call attention of the others. But unfortunately, the rest people have accepted their fate to eat from the crumbs that fall from the master's table. It is a shame. It is a shame that a country that has intellectuals, they claim they are intellectuals, make so much noise, but none of them have the balls to challenge the irregularities. They do not have the ball to challenge the atrocities of the slave master. Nigeria is not working for any one of them. But the problem is that none of them had the balls to challenge Nigeria. Only the Biafrans stand out and we continue to ask, and we will continue to speak. It doesn't matter what they say, what they do. No matter their attack or their propaganda, we will continue to challenge them. We will continue to bring the truth out. The Zoological Republic is not working for anybody. It is not working for anybody. But the problem is that none of them have the balls to challenge it. But I thank you, today we are going to show the world that Nigeria is irredeemable. I'm going to play a program. I want every one of us like and share this program. Pay attention to this program that I'm about to play. You will learn a lot from it. Catch Ononuju was interviewed on that program that was held in Nigeria recently. Was it a conference or whatever they called it? And I want you to listen to Catch Ononuju, what he had to say on this interview. We will learn a lot. When we say Nigeria is not working and we never work, some of you think it's a joke. I want you to pay attention to this program. Let's listen.
Now, after the Concerned Citizens Assembly and Pan Niger Delta Forum met in Abuja, they've been proposing a restructuring of the country into 15 to 17 autonomous federating regions in the country. We've had a situation where there was a dramatic fracture at the heart of that Nigeria's constitutional future with high stakes and national restructuring conference, which actually happened in Abuja. And the conference was aimed at radically restructuring the federation, but unfortunately it ended in a bitter deadlock for some of the delegates. The Igbo delegation staged a fierce walkout at some point, rejecting the final communique and throwing the proposed transition to a 17-major model including total chaos. The concern here is whether River State should be located in the Igbo region or not. The walkout highlights the disagreements over regional autonomy and the timeline for constitutional changes before the 2027 elections. And at the heart of it is the city of Port Harcourt. So who actually owns Port Harcourt? Is this debate about an access to the sea or not?
The conference was supposed to be a conference of ethno-linguistic
nationalities without defining the meaning of ethno-linguistic nationalities to foreclose the possibility of political groups coming in the guise of ethnic nationalities. We've been deceived. This is a charade. And nobody in Nigeria should take what happened today as a serious event. We are in agreement with the rest of Nigeria who believe that we should restructure Nigeria in a way that its people can govern themselves. Nobody seeks a breakup of the country. We seek to make Nigeria work.
That is the problem. Nigeria will never work. If you are an Igbo man, you are trying to make people look at you as a different person. Nigeria will never work. It will never. Look at the debate for restructuring. The Igbos walked out. Why did they walk out? They are still focusing on dividing our land anymore. These people do not want us to unite. They don't want to see us united. Every single thing Nigeria is planning is targeted at the Igbos to make sure we do not unite. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said it. There is nothing you will do. There is no platform for you to say you want to do anything legally in Nigeria or politically. It's not going to work. It is not going to work. Sometimes they tell you to go to your house assembly. It's not going to work. Now they place a debate on restructuring. And look at how it ended. Charade. Nonsense. Let us hear them.
In a way that's determined by its indigenous people.
All right, and to dive into this discourse, we have the Reverend Deputy Leader of the Igbo Delegation to the Abuja Summit on restructuring. And thank you so much, Dr. Kat, for joining. What exactly actually led to that workout on this access to the sea or the position of rivers, or whether River State and Port Harcourt should belong to the Igbo region or not? What exactly are you asking for?
It is I am an Igbo born in Diop. Diop was settled at the Willis Commission as a place inhabited by Igbos. Today's Greater Port Harcourt has up to 4 ethnicities in it. You have the Igbos who have come in from the Igbo hinterland, like my family, that came in 1832, alongside Uzumbamba Naso, Jua Mako, also known as Jaja of Opopo. He came back to Amigo, where his father is from Umudroha, his mother is from Umujoki, Umudroha, and then took people from there and from Umkwere to come and establish Opopo. Since that time, my family has been in River State for up to 320 years. Now, we the indigenous Igbos are accepted by the Williams Commission as part of the people of Greater Port Harcourt. You also have the Kwere who are there. You also have the Okrika who are there in the Greater Port Harcourt. And of course, you also have the Ogoni who are also there in the Greater Port Harcourt space. And we have agreed to share it. Now, indigenous Igbos like me, who were born there before the end of, and whose parents were there before the end of slavery. Because you remember one question when somebody was asked, what is your ethno-indigeneity? And he claimed that some of them came back after slavery. Even when those people came back after slavery, they came to meet people on the ground. Just like when the Yorubas returned from Senegal, Yorubas now live in Sandbrook, in Campus, and other parts of Moroni, Lagos. These are Yorubas. So did other people come back. Don't forget, 5 African ethnicities were recorded to have been taken into slavery. 1, the Bakongo, who live in the Gulf of Guinea from Angola straight into Congo. That's where the Bantu Congos are. And then you have the Igbo in the records. Then you have the Yorubas in the records. You also have the Aka. And also now you have the Mandinka. These are the 5 tribes that are captured in the records as having been taken into slavery. So even if you return back and after the Emancipation Proclamation, you were now allowed to return back to your area of ethno-indigeneity.
And you see that? So the people didn't fall from heaven. No. So that is exactly what we're saying. So those who came back to Igbo land, because Igbos represent the highest single ethnicity in the Niger Delta. The Niger Delta is the areas that contain the entire tributaries of the Niger River. It's not an ethnic area. And there you have things like
That's the bite of Biafra.
exactly what's called now, but go forget it. You have in the Niger Delta thing, you have Anambra State, you have Delta State, you have Abia State, you have Imo State, you have our River State.
All right, Dr. Catch. Now, if we're asking for region to be formed, one of the regions that was canvassed was the Igbo region, and then the judge also said they were asking for a particular region. And so your problem is that the judge want Port Harcourt to be under their own region. Now you are saying
that's not what he's saying.
Okay, so what exactly is your ground?
The problem we had with them was the Yorubas told us that the original Ijaw map, which made Ijaw not to attend the conference, was the Ijaws drew a map in which they seized all the literal spaces from Badagry down to Bakassi. So that all the literal spaces facing the ocean were to be their own. The Yorubas disagreed. When we came to the conference, we now saw that the Yorubas allowed protect map where the Ijaw now have to cover the literal spaces of River State. That is our bone of contention. Right. Why am I saying this? We the Igbos have made peace with our Equatorial brothers to the extent that today an Equatorial man from Meneka is the President General of Ohanese People. This is exactly.
Yeah, but you would have listened to people like Jason Wike.
Listen to
Jason Wike's They are different. They are not Igbo.
Jason Wike's
problem. So Rivers does not have anything to do with the Igbo region.
He claims that the Ikwere come from Benin. Oba Akensu was saying it's not true. There is nothing like Benin. During the days of the Arab Confederacy, the Benin Kingdom existed and nobody came to River State.
You see, I want you to pay attention. You know, Nigeria are evil. Do you see that this presenter was still trying to drive the story to Wike's belief and the belief of Nigerians on continuous marginalization and division of the Igbos? Even when Catch on Onuju was giving him a critical history and story of the Igbos and River State, he wasn't paying attention. He was still focused on driving the message that he was sent to push. He was still focusing on driving the message of Wike, something that does not have a background, a lie from the pit of hell that does not hold water. This presenter, even when Catch on Onuju explained everything to him, he was still trying to bring Catch on Onuju back to that Nigeria madness, that Nigeria wickedness, that Nigeria divisive plans against us. We are in 12 states in Nigeria. And when he was introduced, if you listen to the introduction, he talked about if this was about access to ocean. We have the closest access to ocean. Igbo land has I have talked about it several times. I have played the video here. I have played the video of that thing here many times, where it was explained our access to we are the one that have the closest. In fact, the first seaport that was supposed to build in Nigeria was to be built in Igbo land. But the British and their wickedness decided to remove it. It is, when we say Nigeria can never, we don't have to be in this place. People don't understand it. I want you to continue to listen to them.
But don't forget, you have in the Niger Delta thing, you have Anambra State, you have Delta State, you have Abia State, you have Imo State, you have our River State.
All right, Dr. Catch. Now, if we're asking for region to be formed, one of the regions that was canvassed was the Igbo region, and then the judge also said they were asking for a particular region. And so your problem is that you just want Port Harcourt to be under their own region. Now you are saying
that's not what he's saying.
Okay, so what exactly is your
ground? The problem we had with them was the Yorubas told us that the original Ijaw map, which made Ijaw not to attend the conference, Mazi, he just drew a map in which they seized all the littoral spaces from Badagry down to Bakassi. So that all the littoral spaces facing the ocean were to be their own. The Yorubas disagreed. When we came to the conference, we now saw that the Yorubas allowed brought a map where they just now have to cover the littoral spaces of River State. That is our point of contention. Why am I saying this? We the Igbos have made peace with our Ikwere brothers to the extent that today an Ikwere man from Eneka is the President General of Ohanese Igbo. This is exactly.
Yeah, but you would have listened to people like Jason Wike.
That listen to
Jason Wike's problem. They are not Igbo.
Jason Wike's problem.
Rivers does not have anything to do with the Igbo region.
He claims that the Ikwere come from Benin. Oba Akenzo was saying it's not true. There is nothing like Benin. During the days of the Arab Confederacy, the Benin Kingdom existed and nobody came to River State. Even the name of the man they said that came back, Akalaka, that's an Igbo name. You understand? So how can Akalaka come from Benin? Benin doesn't have Akalaka. Akalaka is an Igbo man. So even if you call Akalaka, that's an Igbo name. And we know, look, just like me and Mao Wabuma. I was born in Obidaga. I was born in June. Now, nothing for crosses me. Just recently, a court in Plateau State said that the indigenous Hausa born in Jos North are indigenous to the state. If they are indigenous to Plateau, then what's wrong with the Igbos born in River State, whose parents were born in River State like me? Why would we not be doing that? And we have now teamed up with the Queens, like to Samu Batan to insist that we want to belong to the.
Well, I mean, I've spoken with some of the queries, and we expected one of the leaders, President Professor King, but unfortunately couldn't make it at the last minute. But talk to us at the heart of this debate also is that there are talks that the Igbos want to in the future, regionalize Nigeria, have access to the sea.
That's not true.
Port Harcourt.
That's not true.
And the locals say they don't want.
No, listen. If you now see somebody in River State who comes and say he doesn't want River State to have access to the sea, that's why we say these are sponsored political groups. Because no River State will tell you he doesn't want River State to have access to the sea.
No, I mean the Igbo nation, the Igbo region being proposed having an access to the sea through Port Harcourt.
Well, the Igbos, no, that's not what it is. The Igbos propose that the Benin people should have access to the sea through the Gelege. The people from Delta, the Warri people should have access to the sea through Warri and Cocoa Port. The Yorubas already have access to the sea through Lagos. We also propose the Izon already have access to the sea through Brass and other parts of Bayelsa. But River State should also be allowed its access to the sea. So when we now saw that the political sponsors group were comfortable with River State being blocked from having access to the sea, we now knew this was sponsored groups just to undermine. Look, if I don't have to do this with my brothers in River State, that we have gotten in Bata to be President General for Ohanese means it's a family thing.
But I spoke to some of the leaders and they said he went there on his own, that the people of Rivers never asked Senator Mbata to represent them, especially the Ikwere to represent them as the president of Ohanese Igbo. That is a project by some of you leaders from the Igbo nation to try to penetrate through the River State.
You see why we can never have peace in Nigeria? Just listen to this program. When you listen to this program, you will understand there is nothing that will make Nigeria on the planet Earth to work. This River State was created by Gowon. The British advised him to create that River State. The major reason of creating River State was to create chaos, to divide us, to separate us from our people. And they are fighting very hard to see that that division they want to create happens. You see why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is fighting, not looking back. You see why Mazi Simon Ekpa is not looking back to talk about any agreement with any idiot. Did you see? These are people who are in that same so-called one Nigeria, proposing a restructuring where everybody will respect it. And yet, the government of Nigeria, through their media and some sponsor people, are manipulating to make sure that they devise us and deny us our rights. And they want us to be part of Nigeria. God forbid. We will never, ever be part of this zoological, but not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Let's listen to them.
That is not true. Nobody is begging for any penetration. Igbos bring success wherever they go to. Igbos develop. As I speak to you today, Igbos still represent the largest single ethnic group in Rivers State.
So what do you want?
What we want is to make peace, marry back with our own brothers, what was divided by the war.
Under which region?
Now listen, the Yorubas were able now to reconstruct, to repair what the soldiers did, brought in Yorubas from Kwara into their fold in their contiguous map, brought in Yorubas from Kogi into their fold in their contiguous map. What's wrong with an ethno-linguistic arrangement where also Igbos in the River State are brought in? And because we now saw those people were comfortable with River State being squeezed, we now knew this was a sponsor political group.
Nonsense.
All right, we are a proper
Nigeria
group with Rivers blood in them. They would not be quiet when River State is blocked from having access to the sea. That's exactly what we do. These are political groups also to come and disrupt what we have. Now, you cannot say somebody like Senator Mbaka is sponsored. Senator Mbaka is the man that made Governor Wike local government chairman. When he was senator representing Wike and Mbaka come from Ward 5 and Ward 4 in Obiakpo.
These are brothers. I heard Wike also say that he's not an Igbo man.
Wike says that he
does at some point.
He does that because we never wrote him
I have made the agenda.
We never wrote him a page. He said 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago, I was at his house. We never wrote him a page. He says that he's Igbo. Wike will say he's not Igbo. So you can understand.
That's a conversation. But just before I let you go,
Yes.
Dr. Catch, I mean, you have said that you live in one Nigeria, we're under, a structured country where you have different regions. And do we really need regions at this point in time? Because people are saying that this state creation has even caused us more trouble. Don't you think we'll be in further trouble if we do go by these people?
There is no need for region, separation, a referendum. All this nonsense meetings they are holding is rubbish. This is a waste of time and money. You have done constitutional conference, nothing came out of it. You did the Okuta panel, nothing came out. Do you think anything that will come out of this one? I don't know why Nigerian people do not listen. I don't know why people are brain dead in Nigeria. Okuta panel, billions were spent, many things were done, yet nothing was implemented, not even one. Good luck, Jonathan conducted a constitutional conference. It was thrown into the dustbin. Now you still somehow think that this one they are doing now will see the light of the day. I don't know why people cannot reason in that zoo. I don't know why some people think and people cannot use their initiative. The only people that still stands out is the Biafran people. Conduct a referendum. The only thing that Nigeria need now is separation. Separation, not restructuring. Nigeria have outgrown restructuring. Our eternal leader, Dim Odumegwu Ojukwu, called for restructuring when it was supposed to be restructured, and they refused to listen. Instead of listening, they brought death and they killed our people. And some idiots are coming today to think that restore catch on Onoju. I understand you have knowledge and wisdom, but please, you and your colleagues should know that we have outgrown this nonsense. Nothing is going to come out of this your conference. Nothing whatsoever. Separation is what everybody should be going for. People should be calling for a referendum. Let people, not some group of people go and decide. Let the whole people decide. Everybody decide. I don't know why it is difficult for people to understand.
With Rivers blood in them, they would not be quiet when River State is blocked from having access to the sea. That's exactly what we do. These are political groups also to come and disrupt what we have. Now, you cannot say somebody like Senator Mbaka is sponsored. Senator Mbaka is the man that made Governor Wike local government chairman. when he was senator representing Wike and Mbata come from Ward 5 and Ward 4 in Obiakpo. Is that
you have heard Wike also say that he's not an Igbo man.
Wike says that he does that because we never wrote in
I have maybe a change of mind.
We never wrote in he says 3 nights ago, I was at Roti's house. Whenever Roti's says that he's Igbo, we can say he's not Igbo. So you can understand
conversation. But just before I let you go, to catch, I mean, you have said that you live in one Nigeria, we're under a restructured country where you have different regions. And do we really need regions at this point in time? Because people are saying that this state creation has even caused us more trouble. Don't you think we'll be in further trouble if we do go by this proposed 15 to 17 regions?
We will not have any problem if we construct 8 new religious constituencies and 8 new linguistic constituencies. It's the same way in Europe. It's the same formula that was used to resolve the problem in Yugoslavia. The Serbs went on their own, the Bosnians and Herzegovinians agreed to come together and they have peace. So the same platform, the same standard that was used in Yugoslavia and the rest of Europe can be used here so that we do not have problem. Because the contraption arranged by the soldiers is not working. And because it's not working, there is nothing wrong with we, the people, coming together to do something. The current constitution was not written by the people. Obasanjo was sworn in, and after that, he was handed.
Yeah, but it's an offshoot of the 1979 constitution.
It is not
where there was
working.
a constituent assembly
No,
led
that's
by
not
Chief
true.
Rotimi
What we
Williams
have
and other
today
Nigerians.
was prepared privately. It is a product of the cascade of coups done by Buhari, Babangida, and Abacha. When they wrote all those decrees, they now superimpose the interests of the Muslims on a Christian majority country. We have been quiet. Now we want to resolve. Look at even what they did.
No, they're not quiet.
The baggy has spread into 6 different states. Is that proper? The baggy represents the largest single ethnic group in the north after the Hausa. But look at how they've been put by the soldiers. You have baggy that owns Mina, baggy that owns Asuleja, baggy that owns Birimigwari, baggy that owns Kaduna, baggy that owns Zaria and Abuja, scattered into a million states. Is that normal? No.
All right. Do you think the National Assembly will accept the resolutions that you've had very quickly before we go? And would President Tinubu, for example, be willing maybe to put his pen to paper on any proposal that maybe the National Assembly does pass to him?
We have started talking.
That is another nonsense. After they make all this noise, you go to National Assembly, the case will die there. You see, why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu say there is no structure for you to do anything in Nigeria politically? There is no structure. All this noise they are making now, conference. When you take it to the House of Assembly for voting, it will die a natural death. You don't see the light of the day. They will tell you, go and meet your lawmakers. Go and do it. Once you get to National Assembly, it will die. You cannot hear it again. I remind you again, Okuta panel was to correct so many wrongs in Nigeria. Nothing was done. Constitutional Conference of Goodluck Jonathan, nobody's talking about it. Now, under Tinubu, you want to do another conference, you think magic will happen. And you are doing it outside the Senate, and then later now you take it to Senate for approval. And who is going to approve it for you? Who for Christ's sake? It is so sad. It is so sad that some people don't want to understand. They don't want to see reason. They continue to deceive themselves. But I thank Chukwu coming for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Mazi Simon Ekpa. And I hope that Finland is watching. When you watch and you see this confusion, look at it. Even in the discussion, they don't even agree. The Igbo region walked away from that constitution because of the marginalization. They have already started dividing and marginalizing them. They have already started dividing and marginalizing us, superimposing things on us. May Chukwu have mercy.
Even reaching out to the executive.
We have started, remember, at the beginning of this particular conference, when I was invited, and before when they made the deputy leader of the Igbo region, I was asking to learn. And when I got there, as the conference opened, from the Attorney General's office, somebody came to read an opening address. I told myself, okay, the government is in it, but the government also wants to be who is out there. The government blesses it. So let the people talk among itself, so that we, the people, can produce articles of association that is okay for us, not what the military imposed. What we're trying to do is to undo what the soldiers did. So if the Yorubas
But you need the stamp of the National Assembly.
I don't know that, but let's first
All right,
when
Dr.
the people
Kacho,
talk, then we can go to National Assembly. There's nothing wrong with that.
all right, Dr. Kacho.
That is important. Whatever you are discussing, whatever noise you're making, you need the stamp of National Assembly. After all this, their noise making and conference and wasting of time and money, when you go to National Assembly, it will die a natural death. The man just told him, and they laughed over it. That is Nigeria for you, whether you agree or not.
The deputy leader of the Igbo delegation
The Zoom
to the,
can never work.
Summit on restructuring Nigeria. I must thank a whole lot of you who were there. The conversation
Restructure my food.
That the political authorities will be able to give listening.
Restructure my food.
The proposals that have been made, and of course, we'll see how things end. But we must thank you immensely, Dr. Kacho.
It will never work, whether they like it or not. This is not the first time. It will never work. I want everybody to pay attention. Look at it. Just in the beginning of it already, there is chaos everywhere. And somebody is somehow believing that the miracle is going to happen and things will change. Sorry. Sorry to disappoint all of you. Nothing is going to work in the Zoological Republic. Nothing. Absolutely nothing will work. Let us go to another video. Let us go on another report. Pay attention. Let's watch on this one. Nigeria is not meant for the Biafra, not meant for the Igbos, more especially. It's not for us.
We also have, joining us virtually, we have Mr. Ethan, who's a lawyer, of course, public affairs. Good to have you join us this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, great. Now, let me start off with you. First question, how did we get here? And by here, I mean an individual who initially was being chased by the state, hardened as it were, now leading the vigilante for the country, starting from the southwest and Ogun State, as we can see.
This one is about Sunday Igboho case. Every one of us remember Sunday Igboho, who claimed to be a Yoruba nation agitator. Tinubu came, forgave him, brought him back, reintegrated him, now gave him a certificate of security. He is now leading his own squad in Nigeria. A man who was working, fighting alongside with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. As Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was fighting for Biafra, he was saying he is fighting for the nation. After they approached him and bribed him, he hands off. Now he's on contract with Tinubu and his government. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu rejected everything they gave him. These are the double standards. Today, Sunday Igboho is flying like an eagle in Nigeria. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is detained on life sentence. I want us to hear what they have to say on this. Let us hear.
We also have, joining us virtually, we have Mr. Ethan, who's a lawyer, of course, public affairs. Good to have you join us this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, great. Now, let me start off with you. First question, how did we get here? And by here, I mean an individual who initially was being chased by the state, hardened as it were, now leading a vigilante group for the country, starting from the southwest and Ogun State, as we can see. How did we get here? And what does this say about the security architecture as we know it in Nigeria today?
Thank you very much. I think we began in the past. So that's how we began because during the Muhammad Buhari era, and there was a terror across What we are seeing happening now is that Mr. Bola Tinubu is trying to replicate what we did in Indonesia with this run that back. With this cartel is the program that I assure you, everybody will be more better than we are beginning to understand why several things happen in this one and are happening. It is not by accident that the highest ranking soldier in Nigeria is something. The highest ranking soldier Ajayi is also from the 7th group. The commander of the Brigade of Guards, General Onasen, from the 7th group. The president's agency from the 7th group. So what is going on now? It's not new, but Nigerians should become aware because this portends great danger for the polity. In my estimation, there is absolutely nothing from what some people is doing now. That's what's nowadays, because and how and we know where they are getting
the difference. There's a difference actually.
What is the
One
difference?
was calling for cessation. One was calling for cessation. Another is at this point in time looking at protecting people. Isn't that?
Okay, let me address them. When this Nnamdi Kanu came up, his objective was clear: to protect the South from breaking through and
Absolutely.
his voice has been used to overcome confronting this rascal elements and the rest.
Absolutely. This man answered like a man. He is trying to make a difference between what Sunday Igboho is doing, that Sunday Igboho is now protecting people. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is fighting for secession. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was protecting people from the southeast. That was why he formed the ESN. The same thing Sunday Igboho is doing today under Tinubu. It is the same thing. There is no difference. And look, that is what they do in this. This man just gave him the right answer. It is not easy to find people who can have courage to speak like this man, even though his voice was not clear. He is trying to claim that Sunday Igboho is now taking a security outfit to protect people. That is different from what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was doing. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu established the ESN, the same purpose to protect the land for their people. That is what he was fighting for, nothing else.
And we know where they are getting
The difference. There's a difference actually.
What is the
One
difference?
was calling for cessation. One was calling for cessation. Another is at this point in time looking at protecting people. Isn't that?
Okay, let me address them. When Mr. Nnamdi Kanu came up, his objective was clear: to protect the South from breaking through and his voice has been used to combat and confronting this rascal elements and they were succeeding. So you can say whatever you say, but we know this part. That's why I say it is not new. I said, but it is not new.
Sorry to interrupt you. Government itself has not even put a stamp on the we haven't heard that there has been
that direction. Come to that direction. Mr. Igboho did not make that pronouncement in secret. It was very open, it was in public domain. The government officials, the IG of police, the TSS, the presidency, the governor of the state, and all heard what he's saying. If he was not in alignment with them, he was not in league with them, I assure you that at that point, that gathering would have been scattered. But he's doing what he's doing with the explicit approval of the presidency. Don't just say that the government has not made any comment. They have made all the comments. In this instance, silence is all the comments we need. The question we have to ask ourselves is this: why is Nnamdi Kanu in prison? If Igboho can be patrolling
Absolutely.
And then, yes, it all is out. But let us not mistake it. What I see going on is an ethnic militia being funded by the federal government.
Absolutely.
Like just now saying, the terrorism is big. Government is complicit in terror. You begin to say, where is the proof? Where is this? We are seeing now with this Boko. He has made very clear comments. Federal government will train it. They will tell us who will train it. The state government will issue us ID cards and they will tell us where to be deployed. What does that tell you? That tells you that this is insane with the Bola Tinubu regime. I know that it will be the because these guys think they are smart. What is happening is this ethnic militia is being prepared in advance of the 2027 election.
All right, okay.
Are you seeing that? Are you seeing the evil Nigeria? I hope Finland is watching this. No, they will not watch. Finland will not pay attention to all this thing that is happening in Nigeria. They are focusing on Biafra. Look at Sunday Igboho openly organizing militia with the approval of federal government, approval of state. The same thing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu organized to protect our people. And look at the presenter was even trying to make a case and say, oh, this one was to protect. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, what he was doing, was it to keep people? It was not to protect people. And you went and locked him up in Sokoto. And now you are empowering Sunday Igboho. Speaking, look at the crowd. Look at the crowd. Look at the crowd where Sunday Igboho is speaking. Look at the crowd Sunday Igboho is addressing. You see the crowd Sunday Igboho is addressing. Did you see the crowd Sunday Igboho is addressing? Look at the crowd Sunday Igboho is addressing. Armed men, well-armed men to the teeth. Armed men to the teeth. Sponsored by Tinubu. That is that double standard. And our governors, what do? Our governors are busy looking for how to jail Mazi Simon Ekpa. Our governors are busy pushing propaganda, lies, and blackmail against Mazi Simon Ekpa. Every other region is building their defense. Every other region is sponsoring their youth, building their defense. Only in Igbo land. Only in Igbo land we have idiots. We have bunch of idiots. Senseless idiots. That is what we have in Igbo land. Bunch of clowns that don't know their left and people who don't have common sense. They continue. All they know is to fight against their own. All they know is to destroy their own. All they know is to manipulate their own people. That is the only thing they know. How to orchestrate lies, how to plan evil against their own. That is the only thing they understand very well in the Southeast. Bunch of idiots. Idiots. Idiots of the highest order. Every other people are protecting themselves. But for you, they will not. They will not. Instead, when they see where we can protect ourselves, they will go and destroy it. Nigeria is not for us. If you are still hoping that Nigeria will work for you, sorry. No.
Dr. Kanu, real quickly. I also, in about 2 minutes, I also want you to interrogate the concept of numerical advantage of the North. You said something earlier on.
That is what makes me laugh.
You said that the British used the Middle Belters to shore up the numbers in the North. Let's talk about numerical advantage. The North and numbers.
Yes. Thank you. The North they use this argument, we have the numbers, etc. Take the Middle Belt and where are the numbers? They know they don't have the numbers, sir. They know it. But of course, for propaganda purposes, they use that argument, we have the numbers, we can do it. Now,
and it's working for them.
The British wanted the North to remain monolithic for some reason. They wanted it because they wanted to hand over power to the North. And they used Middle Belters to beef up the population of the North before independence. And though before independence, if you look at the population, go back to history, all these things are there, you can Google and see. The the southeast and Bamenda had the highest population, followed by the southwest and the north, that is including the middle belt, had the population in terms of numerical strength. However, the British wanted to hand over to the north and therefore denied the middle belters a region for themselves. Though after independence, the southern minorities were given Midwestern region, but also political considerations, which now we know as used just to whittle down the strength of the southwest. But all the same, we who consider ourselves middle belters, going down history and memory lane, are saying we are not northerners. We are middle belters. And the North has always considered that way anyway. When it comes to such consideration as North, they say all of us as North. But when it comes to appointments and other considerations, they don't consider us as North. So why should this hypocrisy continue? Let them just say, we are middle belters, they are northerners. Let everybody be who he is.
Let everybody be whom he is. Let everybody be whom he is. Is that not what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is asking for? Is that not what Mazi Simon Ekpa is saying? Let everybody be who he is. Mind your business. Mind your own territory. Is that not what our leaders are saying? Is that not why they want to take our lives simply because we are asking for this? Nigeria is not for us. And we will never bow or back down for these criminals. We will never back down for these manipulators from the pit of hell. We will never back down. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. We will never, ever back down for these criminals that are operating from different angles and different corners. We will never back down. Chukwu Okike Abiama, who made us whom we are, we will remain grateful for him. And we will continue to be whom we are supposed to be. We will never allow anybody to take away our rights. So wherever you are, I urge you in the name of Chukwu Okike Abiama, continue to stand your ground, no matter what they say, no matter what they do. Don't you ever give up. Don't you ever give up. There is no hope in Nigeria. It does not matter what they say. It does not matter what they do. They don't mean well for us. These people do not mean well for us. The earlier we begin to prepare ourselves, the better for us. These criminals, they don't mean well for us. Finland can continue to dance Makosa with them. It is up to them. We will never ever back down. And Chukwu Okike Abiama will never allow them to take control of our life. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever.
About is it's not so much that Biafra has to be an independent state, but it has to be economically viable, and you can't really have that with Nigeria as it is. How do we get there?
We cannot be economically viable if we are not politically viable.
Right.
And political viability means complete and absolute independence.
Absolutely.
We must be independent. And again, God creates countries and nations and a man. There are many ways that nations can emerge. It's always an organic process. We understand that. We respect that. Once people, most commentators don't appreciate about Africa, and which most Africans are a bit sort of comfortable with, is that somebody coming from Europe and without regard for your culture, your traditions, your way of life, saying, you are now in one country and your name is Nigeria.
Right.
there is something unnatural about it.
Yes.
I said to the British government, if you have conquered my people, which is a natural human process, that is, so it's a very natural, right? If you have conquered our people, made us English, I can live with that.
Yeah.
But to come and hand over a children of God over to something completely alien, this same culture that we have in the north, which is an Islamic culture, tried to take us over many years ago, and they failed. You now came and completed the cycle for them. There is something evil about it.
Yeah, something inorganic about it.
Inorganic, very, very inorganic. And you cannot. We don't talk about economic development because before you talk about economy, you talk about things like policies, both macro and micro, restaurant. You are dealing with people who cannot differentiate between macro and
No, absolutely
That's
right.
cool.
Yeah. Education is key for the world outside Biafra, and that's where this starts. The political has to start in the education.
That's right.
When you speak to people in the UK, people in the US, is there an openness to independence for Biafra?
No, there isn't. It's what you get is very condescending, wishy-washy. These so Black Africans, what they know sort of we know best than they do, and we try as much as possible to enlighten and educate the American and by extension European audience to the fact that before you had freedom and liberty in any part of the world, in Biafra had before you had political asylum in any other part of the world, where I come from, there was political asylum. But to speak basically of Biafra anyway, come and join if you believe in our value system. We had a series of both political, legal, and legislative structures that endured for thousands of years. These were unceremoniously swept away in the name of, I don't know, civilization or advancement.
Right.
Therefore, the British must be questioned, or the mentality or the psyche of Europeans and by extension Americans must be put to the test to explain, to rationalize why the emergence of states in Africa cannot be allowed to adopt the same organic route by which every other civilized nation emerged. So why is that impossible? That's what I'm asking Americans and Europeans.
And their answers are not good. They're unequivocal.
They don't have any answers to it. All they say is that, oh, why didn't you just come down with it? I want the same thing that you have in America. I want liberty, I want freedom, I want all the rest of it. That's what makes you human being. Oh, that's what I know. And being forced to live in cages in Africa or being forced to live more or less like animals is not the situation we are prepared to tolerate for very long. No, death is better.
Has there been armed clashes between Biafrans and Boko Haram? Has there been a defense of Biafrans?
No, not at all. Because we are not allowed to defend ourselves. They can kill us. They can get arms flowing in from Lebanon, from Iran, from Saudi Arabia. There are jihadis coming from all over the place, coming in there. That was a plane load of arms that came in was detained at the airport from Egypt. The Arab world, that is what drives me insane. The Arab world and the Islamic world are busy supporting Boko Haram in their stated aim of spreading Islam to Christians in Nigeria. The Christian world are not reciprocating, they're not coming to our rescue. I don't know how you can defend yourself against somebody who's armed LPGs and with AK-47s. I don't know if you do that through prayer and fasting. I do not know. Right. That is the sort of condition we're faced with. In other words, as we speak right now, the process of Islamization is gathering momentum and no one is doing anything.
Right. It's you will convert or you will die.
They crucified some people was 2 days ago. And I've got pictures on Facebook.
They actually got something. They actually
Yeah. Something ISIS is doing that they are doing that work. You either convert or we you. And I don't know why the world expects us to deal with that. It's either there's something going on. It's either everyone else is a Muslim. That's why I say something that everyone in the West is a Muslim. That's what I'm saying. Because you couldn't possibly keep quiet when certain things is going on. Yes, it's terrible.
No,
Terrible.
you're opening my eyes in ways I knew this was going to be eye-opening. I did not realize what is happening. Who is Boko Haram organically? Are they a government creation? Are they?
Boko Haram is, you need to understand the geopolitics of Nigeria to then start comprehending the concepts or the ideology that drives the insanity as Boko Haram. In the north, you have the areas you call the Mohammedan areas of the north. These are people who are predominantly, by ancient cultural tradition, Islamic. They are Hausa, Fulani people. In the west, coming down near Lagos, is we have the Yoruba people, and in the east, you have the Biafra people. Now, the Hausa Fulani people, we are told that they have the right to rule in perpetuity Nigeria. The British in 1953 and 57 were involved in a massive fraud to rig the census results. In other words, they skewed the numbers to always favor the Hausa Fulani people that they may remain in power. And the reason for that is that the British were scared that Biafran people, especially Igbos, are somehow human. That we can think of. And we have the oil. The oil wells is the oil wells, the reserves, everything is where we come from. And the British couldn't retain or sustain their colonial presence in Africa because the USA asked them to leave. So what they now did is to take the control of the oil, hand it over to a group of people that think they can manipulate very easily. That's all. That's what has happened. And now they now believe that they have the rights to rule. Unfortunately for them, President Goodluck Jonathan, the current incumbent, emerged out of circumstances that would describe as somehow mischievous. He came up as the president, and now they don't like it. 3 people funded Boko Haram: the ex-president, head of state Buhari, another ex-head of state, Hausa Fulani Islamic person called Babangida, and another vice presidential vice president, Atiku Abubakar. They consciously went out to fund Boko Haram because Buhari said after Jonathan won the 2011 elections that I will make the country ungovernable. He said it openly. And they wanted to do it by killing poor, defenseless Biafran Christians because they know that Christians around the world will not come to our rescue.
Yeah.
They also know that no other people will come to our rescue because they don't want us to unite as a people. That's it.
Yeah. So the British don't want you to work as a people.
That's a problem.
It's a huge problem.
Massive. But this time around, whether they like it or not, I'm sure the British didn't want the USA to imagine that.
No.
Whether they like it or not, we shall emerge.
Yeah.
So everything else there will die.
It'll happen. It's one or the other.
One thing has to happen: either we have Biafra or we will die. There's no way back this time around. There'll be no exile, no running away. There's our land, we live there for thousands of years. That's where we were born, that's where we'll die.
Are you all willing to go back and be there?
At the drop of a heart, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And a heartbeat.
Yeah.
We'll go there.
And obviously loved ones are there.
They're there, my parents are there, my loved ones are there.
Yeah.
And it's a land we've been in for
Thousands of years. And a history and a rich culture and a vibrant way of life that has literally been
so different.
Yeah.
You go to the book of Leviticus, 80% of what you have in the book of Leviticus occurs where I come from. 80%. 80%. Everything. It wasn't as I strongly believe, this is my hypothesis, of course I'm not, of course I hold on to it very strongly. As soon as the British discovered in the late 18th century Because the same house that Fulani people in Zamfara told them, I think I have the map somewhere in London, that across that river lies what they believe to be part of the lost tribe of Israel, honorable. There was then a very systematic and deliberate policy to obliterate our history. The British first said that the Igbos don't have any history. First of all, they removed the name Biafra, which was exactly the name they used to go into treaties with us. They used, you will see that getting written, the chiefs of the Shekiri and Biafra. They then quietly took that away to now only take a component of that, one clan alone, which is Igbo. Because in Biafra you have the Idoma, you have the Igbo, you have the Ibio, you have the Efik, you have the Izon people, which they call Ijo, you have the Shekiri, you have the Robo, and some parts of Ghana. But these are the 7 people that make up. These are the 7 tribes that make up Biafra land. The British and then isolated all the rest, those of our cousins around us, and focused their attention on us. But there's one good thing about this, that in their amalgamation document that they produced in 1904 or thereabouts, which I still have, they made reference to the very first time a European is referring to an African race as great. Yes, the man said the great Igbo race across the Niger. And that speaks volumes.
And the Niger's the river. And they, so Nigeria is taken from just drawing lines on the map from the river of West.
Yeah, that's the name. I mean, the name is Nigerian, named after a river. Before that was the Royal Niger Company, was a rich company,
Right.
which by royal charter was running the whole place. And then from that, incrementally, I have all the paperwork.
Yeah.
Listen, at no time did we give the British the consent to form a country called Nigeria. At no time in our history. I have all the paperwork. We gave them our land to trade.
Right.
That's all. But they went ahead and gradually decided to form a country. Despised us so much that they handed us over to House Fulani Islamic Caliphate. And now they're killing us and nobody's coming to our rescue, which I think is very sad.
If we come to the rescue, how are we coming?
We need support from USA, from the United States government, from the Christian community in the USA, and more importantly also from the Jewish community in the USA. They did something in defense to them in 1968, 69, 70. Jewish Congress in the USA did something. They tried to lobby the US government and Congress to do something about Biafra. From these 3 groups, we expect a lot to come from them to pressure the Obama administration to support what we're doing, to make sure that Biafra comes to exist. Biafra is the only natural ally that USA will ever have in Africa.
Yeah.
Natural. We are never going to bomb USA. We can come here to work for you. We're never going to kill you. That's number one.
Yeah.
We are very, very loyal, hardworking, and friendly people. Go and ask anyone, they will tell you. And I see no reason why a people that believe in the irreducibility of an individual, that believes in liberty, that believes in equality and freedom, the same creed, the same ideals upon which this very great nation USA was founded upon. Why would you not naturally gravitate towards those people? I understand it, right? And if you want to stop the menace of Boko Haram, they should support the creation of Biafra. That's what they need to do. We don't want them to do anything. Just come at the UN or make a press statement in the White House by saying that the people of Biafra, their suffering is intolerable. We may have to revisit the issue of them still belonging to one Nigeria. That's what they need to say. That's all. And it would change. It's done. It's a game changer. It's finished. Wow. We don't need US troops to come. No. We are more than capable. We held out for 3 years.
Yeah.
Against the combined minds of Britain, USSR, and the entire Arab world for 3 years. So we can deal with them. We can.
And do they want that? Does Boko Haram want that? Do they want that violent end?
They do. And sometimes in life, you need to confront them violently.
Yeah.
Or else it will continue to fester.
Yeah.
We must meet them.
And that's hard as Christians.
It's very, very hard because we don't take life that we come from in other cultures and religion and language. You call another person a human being or a person. Where we come from, we say man, which is the beauty of life. So you go forbidden from killing anybody.
Yeah.
You don't kill somebody because that is the embodiment of God's creation. The destiny is known as mad. Mad means beauty of life. So you don't take life. So it's very hard for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you've been pushed.
No, we are being killed.
Yeah.
Killed.
Not pushed, killed.
Not pushed, we are being killed.
Let me ask a couple.
Sure. So down here too.
Christians, by and large, seem to be oriented towards individual faith, and they seem to be reluctant to face the fact that at times war is necessary. And they call it the concept of a holy war being something that you have to struggle with. How have you looked at that? How do you take your faith and the need to sometimes go to war? How does that work for you? How do you? Because you're a very thoughtful man, and I know you've had to look at these issues and defend it.
Yes, the thing is this, my faith taught me to value life, to try to live by the same things that have been preached over the years, as contained in the Bible. But there comes a time when self-preservation takes precedence over and above whatever we may think suits us legally. Because by going to war, we are seeking to preserve, in our case, the kingdom of God. If you do nothing, you become extinct. And there will be no one left to worship God where we come from. So the best thing for us to do is to try as much as possible to reason or come to some level of agreement or accommodation with our adversaries, which has failed so far. The only alternative left for us is to go and meet them where we can find them. And we don't have any difficulties because the reason why you have the US Army is to preserve the ideals upon which this country is founded upon. Even your own body has its own defense immune system, isn't it? Without it, your body will perish. Everywhere you go to, even in heaven, you have angels with their swords guarding the gates of heaven, against the forces of darkness and of hell. So even if you extrapolate the argument and take it away into the natural world, where nature rather than reason obtains, you will still see some phenomena and forces at play that there is need for you to defend yourself.
I have another question. That is, certainly our founding fathers had to struggle with that very issue. Is it related to England? They had strong faith, different faiths possibly, but they had to come up with a Declaration of Independence. You are the vocal person that has really brought together Radio Biafra. What are the coalitions you have? Do you find that you have? How would you write your Declaration of Independence? What would be included within that? What are the values? Would there be religious freedom for other people who have a different point of view?
Yes, there will be religious freedom. We've had it before. By our very nature, by our name, Biafra means come and join. That's it. Yeah. Everybody, including the Sultan of Sokoto, can seek asylum in Biafra, we respect him, we like to come in. It's in our nature, that's how we are. So that with your thoughts. If your mom is beating you up or whatever, or chastises you alone, you just run to the next person. All you need to do is to hold them very tightly, and your mom or your dad will never touch you. We've always had it. So tolerance is interwoven in our essence, in our being. Freedom, freedom, freedom. In every way you can imagine it. There is a name, there's something we say will come from. Onyenachia means I can never judge you, it's between you and your God. So that tells you. We are the original architects of freedom, and the British will attest to that. We never had any theocracy, no dictatorship, no kings, nothing for thousands of years. We understand that now.
For the first time, I think America, in the face of bases going into Syria and Iraq, had opened our eyes to the reality of the desire for a caliphate. We think of that now in terms of the Middle East, but Africa has been facing that for a long time. Talk to us about a little bit about the mission that the Islamic jihadists have within Africa to control all of Africa.
And to dovetail on that, it's because this tolerance and this freedom that Americans feel, that you feel, Boko Haram does not feel, and ISIS does not feel, and as near as I can tell, Islam does not feel. I'm not a judge of Islam. I don't know.
I don't trust them because you don't live in them.
No.
I do.
Yeah.
So I don't trust them.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is this. If you go back to the statements made by the man that brought this violent form of Islam into Nigeria, made Othman Danfodio, from Othman Danfodio to Ahmadu Bello, the son, and right up until this very moment, there's been one common theme running through everything they have said, their ideology, their philosophy, their thinking, their way of life, which is to propagate violent Islam all the way to the ocean. That's something we must know. That work has continued unabated. Biafra is the only piece of unconquered Islamic territory in West Africa, and they are seeking to take it. They vowed to take Biafra is on tape, which we will supply you with. So you can see what these people are saying. When you bomb Afghanistan, when the USA bombs Afghanistan, they kill us in Nigeria. When there is a cartoon of Prophet Muhammad, they kill us. Every blessed day we are dying. We live with the reality. The slow march of Islam has been ceaseless from time, encouraged by the British. Encouraged by the British. Wherever they have been. The British government, you may wish to know, has never supported the independence of any Christian country in the world. Since the beginning of time, they have always consciously and studiously supported the emergence of an independent Islamic state. Yeah.
One of the criticisms or at least questions that come away, and that is Biafra does have control of the principal oil within Nigeria, were it to be formed under the present situation. That is a major obstacle, I would imagine, for people who are frightened of the fact that if you do gain control, they will lose the opportunity of having access to that. How do you approach, as an independent Biafra, the issues that are around the oil, around criticisms, and the resistance that will happen to your independence on the basis of that resource alone?
The resource we believe in development, which means the oil will have to be sold to our friends and to our partners, and in return, I'm an economist myself, in return get vital foreign exchange with which, or foreign reserve which spread other aspects of the economy. We believe in investment. We would like companies from countries that are friendly against the world. We are trying to come to invest in Biafra. We want investment. We don't want to be like Saudi Arabia, so we have everything else. Right? We want tangible, concrete investments to come in. We are not going to drink the oil. It's a natural resource. We need to give it to the economies of our friends to keep growing, because a very healthy US economy or a very healthy EU economy is also going to be beneficial to Biafra. So we can find export markets for our goods and services. We are not, we understand the intricacies of world economy, and we need to make it available to international markets. So it is not a problem. Our oil fields and that very sector will be open to our friends, and only to our friends. You can't expect not to help us and then eventually we'll let you in. It's not going to work that way. But if you help us, of course, it's there for all to have access to. We've gone on record to say that oil is not our problem. All we want is freedom. I know oil is not an issue. Then we can exist as human beings, because right now I don't see myself as a human being because I don't have freedom. What I think
impressed me, the more I come to know about your country's history, is the productivity of the people through the ages. You have been, and now many of them who have left Nigeria are all over the world, being productive, hoping that this would happen. I know when Israel eventually became its own country, there was a homecoming, probably millions of people going to their homeland again. Is that part of your vision? Tell us a little bit about your vision for the future.
They will come back, including some of you from the USA as well. That will be the most natural home for African American people. It will be natural. That will be very, very natural for them to come to, because if you look at the map of Biafra, which is right here in front of us, you will see that the rising sun is clearly positioned on the black strip of the flag, which means that we bring light where there is darkness. That's what we do. Everybody will run open doors, not just for Biafrans, but also for African Americans that have not been able to connect with Africa for very many centuries. They can come back and become part of it. Because mind you, most of the people that were taken away from Africa to come to work in the plantations of the USA came from the Bight of Biafra. This is where we come from. We open our doors for them to try and come back in. Everybody is welcome to come back to be there.
One of the things they talk about in the Middle East is that none of the countries there outside of Israel passed the public square test. The public square test is that you can stand on the corner of a street and be critical of their government and their religion and survive. It seems to me this is a stand for freedom and for liberty.
Yes.
And your focus on liberty is a very important part of what drives you.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about your own journey. I mean, you have gone through beatings. I understand you've been in
everything. You've been to make it.
Talk to us a little bit about your journey, because it has been a personal one where you continue to be a voice for Biafrans.
It started very many years ago. I was educated in England. I went to school in London, and upon graduation, I decided to serve my people, because I didn't like what was going on. We have a group of friends, about 6 of us from Africa. We said when we graduate, we pick one tiny African country and go there and then develop it. I'm very, very thoughtful and quite progressive of us. And upon graduation, the rest got very leadership jobs and they were called free. I decided to carry on with it, because I felt that's the only thing that makes you human is your ability to reason. And as an African, as somebody from Biafra land, unless my land reflects what I believe I possess up here, then I have not made any telling or meaningful contribution to the advancement of mankind. So I decided to plug in with it. I went on initially to try and see what we can do to start a revolution on the ground, because the existing order is essentially irredeemably corrupt as well. So we started it, and it didn't quite go very well. I came back to the UK, reassembled, and went back again. We met a few people who started Radio Biafra, and we started preaching the truth in 2009. And some people were uncomfortable with it. And when I traveled home for a private family ceremony, I was kidnapped. I was beaten, I was tortured, I had people spit at me, some units and bodied at me, and first people for telling them that they were doing things when improper. That was enough. I was arrested before then at Murtala Mohammed Airport. I was detained for 8 days for the confinement at the SSS headquarters because I was putting Biafra and some Biafra materials on me. And after that, I was transferred to Abuja under military escort in 5-car convoy. I was detained for 3 months, solitary confinement again. And there I met the coup brothers from the Equatorial Union, like Thatcher, or the rest of them. And actually, I think the reason why God sent me there was because to save the life of those people, I believe. Because I had not gone in there to kill. But as soon as I came out and told them I was international services of fires that was released and stuff. So I came and then I struggled again to start Radio Biafra. People weren't forthcoming. I became hopeless in England as a result of it because I was investing so much in broadcasting on shortwave to
very
difficult. And we went onto the internet. That's our budget to carry us, and then now we're on satellite. So, and it's been relentless because one thing is if you're doing the right thing, which I believe we're doing, you continue doing it until at the time when the world will then come to the realization that what you're saying is true. Because the suffering has continued, the killing, the death, the deprivation, the deportation. I'm not sure you know that you deport people. Do you know you can deport somebody from the part of Nigeria to another?
Right. How do you do that?
By forcibly removing them from the street, locking them up somewhere, putting them in a vehicle, and then transporting them to wherever you want them to go to.
Americans have seen, quote, the Arab Spring actually create more chaos in Africa and the Middle East. It is unchained even worse conditions. Now you're talking almost like a Christian spring. What's different about your approach? How do you move from talking about it on Radio Biafra to actually having it happen? You mentioned, a couple of statements by the governor of the United States with help in the UN, those kinds of things. Tell me, how does that move? What's it different? How's it different?
That's what people are waiting for. People keep asking us all the time, what is the US government stance on what we are expecting for, or talking about what is the UN saying? That's what I want to hear.
Right.
What does America think and the UN? So for us, that is the catalyst that will solve a lot of problems. And the world must be able to rise up and be very mature about it, to say to themselves that in Africa, actually, we do have human beings who reason properly and not try to be as condescending as they've been all this while. Or
For years.
For years. Especially this very funny thing that self-awareness of criticism works in the West. For you, as a black person from Africa, you're not allowed to criticize yourself or something. I don't believe in that. I believe in being self-critical. If I've done something wrong, I believe in praising myself. How we're going to do it is very simple. The American public is also very critical in this. If the American public can give us their support, that would then spur us on to go back to our people and to say that it's not, the government may not be listening, but the people that all America are listening, and we can work with them. That would then give them the impetus to go ahead and then rightfully possess what belongs to them. Because one thing we're not going to have, which is what we're making it very clear to the world, is this. This work can't continue, I'm afraid. It can't continue. It can't. And in terms of controlling the outcome, the aftermath of any kind of spring, that may result is that you always look at the value system of the people. That is the determinant. That determines the outcome. Those of them that believe in unwavering Sharia Islam, you always know that you cannot have a democracy, liberty, or freedom under Islamic rule. It's there in the Quran, if you bother to read it. It's there. It can never happen. And then you have Biafrans on the other end of the spectrum that believes in libertarian value, not just liberty. We are libertarians to the extreme. When you grow up where we come from, you migrate a few miles away from your father's house so that your parents will even have to study. You go there and grow your own family all by yourself. We come from a country where if you are born a male child, automatically, by right of nature, one day you will become a landlord. You will have a piece of land upon which to build. Irreducible. It never changes. Therefore, in our bones, not just in the blood, we have the DNA of freedom planted. So we can never, the excesses of what happens when you have a new African country won't apply in our case. Because frankly, like that, right, can never be.
Yeah.
We are different.
And doing so, as you say, is part of what Americans, what Westerners would refer to as seed planting, as putting a Christian, economically cooperative people in a place where we've really not had that.
Exactly. And not only that, I travel across the stretch of Africa. I travel from Gabon all the way to Gambia all the time. And it would please me to see Americans, all these my people here, bring down their friends to come home on holidays to say, these are my friends I brought them from the USA and it's for us to enjoy. You can't do that anymore, can you? Because you're afraid of economics and all the rest of it, all these social crises and needs. The best thing that America can ever do in terms of its foreign policy is to support the rights of Biafra. Ever. Because as you quite rightly pointed out from Biafra, the American can say, I can always use Biafra as an example. The same way that Israel is just an example in the Middle East. Isn't it very funny that Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East where you can vote? You can actually stand on the street corner and says anybody there, including Israel. And nothing happens to you.
Yes, right.
Nothing. I said to people that what is simple can only make you get better. They won't kill you. They won't kill you. That's nothing to you. Somebody saying, oh, you're stupid, you're this. Tell me what you're doing with our money, our tax money. We need to stand there and explain. That is why we run radio, Biafra, the way we do. So that we'll graduate from here into proper governance by the grace of God. You will be able to stand up and defend your record before the people. That is how America became the strongest country in the world. Not by doing things in the secret. I said this to some, I used to say to them all the time. Never be afraid of openness. After all, the greatest country in the world does all their inquiries in the open. Is it the Rat Gate?
Yeah.
Is it the Watergate? Yeah. Everything is in the open. Did it weaken the presidency? The answer is no, it made them stronger.
If you had one more thing to say to the people either on video or in reports, or what would you want to say to Americans here who do value freedom and will want to hear what you have to say?
To those Americans here that value freedom and believe in it, it is also the duty to protect freedom where they can, to protect people defending the ideals upon which the USA is founded upon. Very, very critical. It is no use saying I'm an American, things works here for me, because they're not too distant to work anymore. You can't travel to London because ISIS will be there, right? Surely. Yeah. Now, it is the duty of America. I mean, with the war is at a crossroads right now. As I said earlier during my opening statement, the battle between good and evil, light versus darkness. So it's either you stand in faith with what you know to be correct, than for you to be carried by what we perceive to be the overwhelming preponderance of the forces of darkness, and because of that, you caught into a path because they're going to come after you. So this is in your body. If you live it keeps fast, you must confront it.
London was a revelation to me for that very reason. More Islamic people than I had ever experienced in one place, including all over Austria, Hungary, where I was, and there were some there, but London was that, and there was a protest the day that we were there. We were walking by Westminster Abbey, and the protest was gigantic, and it was Gazans were protesting against Israel, and they were being protected by the UK police, and as is their right to free speech. But one of the signs read "Britain accomplished murder," and it didn't dawn on me until what you just said, how ironically true that statement is.
So it's
What they have supported will come to bite them.
That's what I tell them all the time, that the British made a monumental mistake by supporting the death of 3.5 million people. The worst they will make. They will come after them and they'll kill them. You mark my words somewhere. So the British Isles will be overrun by Islam because they're there already. Do you know that they don't pay for their parking tickets?
Yes.
The number one name in the UK for a child is Muhammad.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Yes. We're not good at it. It is there. So the UK government and how people supported the emergence of Bosnia and Herzegovina from a predominantly Christian Orthodox Serbia and further Yugoslavia. They supported the emergence of Albania, also Muslim. And what's the other one again? There's Albania, there's Kosovo as well.
I mean, they
exactly. Yeah. They supported the freedoms of all the Arab countries away from the Ottoman Empire, along Saudi Arabia, or the rest of it. The British occupied Palestine and refused the right of passage. I read Leon Uris's Exodus. I don't know if you know that before. I read it. How they refused Exodus to dock. I think it was in Haifa or so. By the British garrison, right? Saying no to them, they can't come in. But you can quite easily go to the same Bible that you read all the time and see who owns the land. They can see it very clearly. Because there's something about humanity, I would say, that baffles me. You have before you all the available facts and evidence, and you consciously choose to ignore it. There's something wrong with that. And also the British state. So it doesn't really surprise me at all. And I've said to them before that you have something against the children of God. That's the British people. Of course they did. It is that they didn't want to go away. The British officers were within the journey. In fact, the entire officer class of the General Army that fought the Israel in the War of Independence were people in the staffed by British officers. Yes, go and have a look. Go and have a look. The Jordanian army, go and have a look. They still lost. Anyway. Yeah. Now, the fact remains that we must be bold enough. America is the last bastion of hope. That is why sometimes Obama's administration, I wonder what's going on. We must stand up and for some time do away with political. I can't stand political correctness. Do away with it for some minutes and face the hard reality. If somebody has a problem that requires invasive surgery, you cut them open to get at the problem and then resolve it. There is no need applying ointment or trying to prevent an accident when people are festering and dying on the inside. That is what he has to do. He needs to be decisive. His support for Israel is critical. It is critical. There is no way you can use human shield or launch attacks against a sovereign nation from the comfort of a children's classroom and don't expect some measure of reprisal. When the Japanese attacked America, America responded. When Hitler attacked Britain, Churchill responded. You never allowed tyranny or terror to prevail. Why must other people be allowed to be under that? It's not possible. If you don't help us, we all sink in this one big gigantic called deceit in our lives.
And darkness.
And darkness, of course. Thank you. Thank you very much.
What an eye-opening experience.